floor is yours.
So I wasn't, sorry, I didn't realise Graham and Diane were attending the meetings. You won't have had the paperwork through. I can send you copies of the reports following this.
Okay.
But basically, due to the, were you saying something then, Graham?
Yeah, pages 15, 16 and 17.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely.
I sent it out with the pack, Claire, so they should have them. So,
Yeah, it's all right. It's me being brain dead. There's a second section for later, but yeah. Yeah, so by now we should have had just over 25% of the expected turnover through the centre for the bar sales, and we're obviously £43,700 behind where we were expecting to be budget wise. Pardon me. We've had some of the quarterly gas and electric bills, which include usage from March through, and there's been 10,700 roughly of expenditure on the centre in June. Again, like I say, no cash sales on there, no cash sales on the tea and coffee, none on the room lettings. Room lettings are only 22.95% behind, because some of our bigger months are later in the year. So hopefully, if Boris pulls his finger out and lets us open from August, we can start to recoup some of that. Obviously, no events in April, May or June, and none planned for July. We have had a request today. We've got someone coming in to do Northern Soul once we reopen, obviously once we're allowed to put proper functions on again. They were due to start in April. He has requested whether or not he can come and provide a free DJ set on Sunday on the patio. Now, I'm not certain where we stand with that regards to the music, because it says no live music.
Live music, yeah, it's not permitted at the moment.
You can't.
No,
you can't.
Not at the moment. No, not live music.
Well, no, that's what my thinking was, but
it's not live music though, is it? It's recorded music.
It's pre-recorded, and he said if he keeps the volume down, but I'm not sure, so I don't know whether or not to contact licensing and ask.
Do we have an outdoor music license?
Sorry,
sorry.
You're quite right, Anne. Yeah, we don't have an outdoor music license either. That's the other thing. So that really would scupper it.
Does it not cover it? Okay.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Shame, but it doesn't.
It's all right. I was just thinking, because if he was doing the set, he would have pulled people across with him who go to his things regularly. But
the danger is if people then start up and start dancing and you can't. And
yeah, I had a feeling
social distance.
Yeah, I had a feeling it wouldn't be a flyer, but I told him I would run it past the councillors.
I mean, if it was a simple factor of I'm going to put some records on and these people are going to sit in a socially distanced way just to listen to this sort of music and talk amongst themselves.
But he's going to play Northern Soul, and you know what?
Yeah, but then, given that we're not getting a lot of people in, I'd be sympathetic to that, because that's no difference to when I've been and we've got music on. But the risk assessment for it, which would only need to be a page, to me, I'm only speaking for myself, to me would be that he's got to make sure that there's a maximum number of people of X. It's got to be indoors, because effectively we can't have it outdoors, although we can have the music, the doors open if it's not sort of, if it's light, basically.
Yeah.
And therefore he's got to keep the numbers to however the maximum number that we've got is. If it was that, I'd be keen to take his money, but I defer to other members.
No, the thing is, if you put him inside with the doors open, the level of music inside the building would be over what you can comfortably talk over. So
yeah,
it would be a non-flyer anyway.
You've got to keep it very low, haven't you?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a longer term issue as to whether we try to amend our license. There's no reason why we can't apply for an exterior music license. So other venues do have them. The issue we've got to contend with is whether there might be any objections from residents locally. But
I think the other thing, applying for it in July to going through committee, by the time it gets to September, it'd be too cold and too dark. If you're going to do it, you do it in February for March, April.
We need to be very open about that because we're getting a lot of black at the moment. Is that the word, Sue?
Just a bit.
We don't want to add to it, I would say. But
Yeah,
I don't know how you feel, Sue.
No, we're getting enough at the moment without having anything else coming up.
Yeah, Sue is
Please.
answering it gallantly.
Oh, is this the
It's an evil
issue?
cackle, that. I don't believe it. I mean, Kathy might be getting some flack, and there may be some flack coming, but as far as I'm concerned, there's not our planning application, really. And
It certainly isn't, but Sue is taking,
I'm taking it.
you're
I'm
taking
getting
it,
the flack.
Yeah.
Believe me,
you're the terrible one.
I am.
I take it we're not on YouTube, are we, Julian?
it's working now, actually. Yeah, you are on YouTube.
I'll be very
so,
careful what I say then.
Yeah.
I won't be.
But yeah,
I can see how people local to it may not quite prefer a car park. We're off the agenda, but let's stick to the agenda, shall we? Claire,
Yes.
yes, so we're stealing your thunder. I would be sympathetic to it. I think the majority of the committee are more cautious, and I defer to their wisdom and judgment.
yeah. Well, I was going to say, I'll tell him it's a no flyer because it's not worth risking the premises license. The Borough Arms apparently in town were open before the opening line, and they've been told that their license is suspended until January of next year.
Yeah.
So we don't want to fall into that trap.
And you only want the Swan to complain and we're away.
Yeah.
Could
Exactly.
be attracting their customers, Yeah, no, it's not a go.
Right.
Noted.
I circulated a financial addendum paper, I think earlier today. I don't think it was yesterday. I know because I didn't have the carpet quotes. Just a quick run through. We've been contacted by Scottish Power on behalf of Extra Energy. Apparently they owe us £6,331.47. So I'm in the process of getting a timeline for when that's going to hit our bank. So that will cover some of the top up to the furlough that we've been giving staff there. Also, whilst I was on the phone, I checked out when our contract was due up with them to be told that we slipped out of contract during the furlough. So I've renegotiated a contract with them that should save us approximately, depending on usage, £1,300 a year.
When did the contract come out? Did we get out of contract?
I can't remember what month it said, but it was one of the months while we were on furlough, so
Okay.
it dropped out. The gas contract I was dealing with before we got furloughed, but I've not been able to get hold of them properly. I have now sorted that out. I've only put these on 1 year contracts because it was a case of get us on for now, and we'll look at other suppliers and that for next year. But
It'd be worth looking at getting a smart meter or some better billing, because clearly they've been sending an estimated bill, probably on the basis that when we had 2 meters.
well, I'm going to be doing a meter reading once a month for them.
They need to manage that. That'll be something that slipped through the net without having an RFO who's on the case, Claire. So it's a good one to pick up on that. Well done.
And the gas contract change should save us an expected £2,800 on the year. So that's an expected saving of about £4,100 this year on those contracts. So
Even less, it'd be even more if it's not open.
well,
Not using the heat.
I'm going to say the lower the usage, obviously the lower the bills, but per unit usage we'll be saving as well. So
Okay. Well, yeah, well done. Good stuff.
Yeah, I think
unfortunately, the next part of the paper is where I want to spend money.
I think you need to congratulate him for that, Claire.
Yes,
For,
well done.
getting that saving. It's well worth it.
Well, we've got a couple of
Just make sure.
health and safety issue repairs needed, and some of the ones where we need to like decorate, you know, cosmetic ones. So I'll start with the hallway. The banister in the hallway on the, as you head down towards the Radley, on your right hand side, they've quite literally come loose from the wall. There's like, it's come out of the wall. So I've asked Nick from Wigwam to put a wood fill into the hole and drill and secure the rails on both sides all the way along. There's only 3 of them that have come loose at the minute, but I figure get them all gone because they're all going to go eventually if those 3 have gone. He's quoted £280 to do that.
Is he going to paint the rail? Does that include painting the rail?
It doesn't include painting the rail, it's just making it secure at the minute. If we
Right.
want something painting, I'll get further down, but I reckon Mr. Harris is probably our best bet for that.
He definitely. It's just that it's white. It shows every single hand mark, toffee mark, snap mark, anything else you want to put on it. A dark colour would be more beneficial.
Right, I will ask because but are we good to go ahead with £280 to fix the handrail?
And it's only got.
It seems fairly essential to me. It's we couldn't reopen that part of the centre without it being in place. So
It is essential, Mike. It's essential
It
for,
is.
like, you know, if you. It's quite a slope, really, if you're not so good on your feet, as I'll verify, and you do need a rail there.
And the
Definitely.
thing is, if it's not fixed, it's going to have to be taken down because if one of the
Yeah.
kiddies swings on it, we're done for.
Yeah.
We've got a claim.
If it's on your toe, it's heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if that one's okay. Next one is in the Radley, the door that leads out into the little playground bit that the nursery have. There is a hole that I can quite literally see through in that door. The wood has been that badly weathered and it's basically, if I wanted to, I could come at it from the other side and kick that door through. We're not secure with it and it's not
No.
safe, I don't think, around the kiddies. So I've had a quote from Wigwam for £705 to replace that. I can look at getting an alternative quote, but the other person that I phoned up to come out and quote for a wooden door didn't seem to understand what I meant and didn't actually do
No.
wooden doors. So I've
Can
not
I-
had a chance to obtain another quote yet.
I don't know whether anybody else wants to say anything. Why are we having a wooden door and not a UPVC door or something? Are they say more expensive? Are they?
No, I just went with, you probably want like for like with the glass in there, but if you want me to look at UPVC
Well, you can
options,
still have glass in it, can't you?
I can look at UPVC options and circulate that round.
I don't know. I don't know whether anybody's got another opinion.
this is the door that's onto the little secure
Yeah.
compound that the nursery have. Yeah.
It's the one that the nursery paid for it originally
Mm.
after much protest, but we did. So I'm not paying. I mean, not paying for another one. Well, we can.
It's your door that's gone wrong, Annie. You should be paying for a
It
new
is
one.
my door. Well, tough like mine.
Why didn't you
because I
buy a
don't-
PVC one?
Well, I didn't know we hadn't because I had very little to do with it apart from hand. It's a very contentious point. This all we did was hand them.
I gathered that.
I am really. I'm. Yeah, it's done. It's lasted very well, but it's just that wooden doors are. They need painting. They need.
There's any manner of place that people will do wooden PVC doors. So,
But I
yeah.
don't know if there's a reason for it being wooden or whether it was
No.
just
I was just going with keeping the aesthetic more than anything.
Mm.
But
yeah.
if you want me to look at the UPVC option, I can do. That's fine.
Mm.
It might be more expensive, I don't know. I know a composite door would be, but the UPVC might not be. I just wondered if it was it's as secure as any of the other doors in there. But
The composite one will be more secure if you're looking for a security
it would, but
issue.
it's more expensive as well.
We had a
lot more
quote,
expensive.
sorry, we had a quote at Neil's for a composite door of £900.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
about average that, yeah. Yeah,
So,
a UPVC one is cheaper.
Yeah. Oh well, I'll ask and
Get some more get some quotes in, Claire. But as I say, I think we're going to have to form a view on these at
the full council meeting. Really,
well, not so much full council, but in terms of my view is that if it's an issue for security for people breaking in, then yes, it needs sorting out. If it's an area that affects the functionality of a room, we need to get the prices and be in a position to make the investment. But for instance, like the Millennium, which is coming down the road, I can't see any prospect of us reopening the Millennium Suite anytime soon, because it's just too small to house people. And on that basis, you know, I wouldn't be spending a fortune on a floor until there's some revenue coming in. My personal view.
You're not going to get revenue coming in, are you?
No, so therefore, you know, if we can repurpose
it's disgusting
it
in there, though.
Yeah, but if it ends up being, say, we've got to think about repurposing. You've only got you can carry on as we are, and that will work for this year because of the funding that's put in, and the hard decisions that's going to have to be made can be put off for a year. Or you've got to use the time that we've got to repurpose in terms of what it looks like. And you've got to start making your best estimates of what it looks like. The chances of the Millennium Suite being the main bar in which 8, 9, 10 people drink when Liverpool are playing whoever on the Champions League or Man City is, in my view, remote. Because there's no intention to get this virus out of the community. There's the strategies to live with it at an infection rate of about 10 in 100,000, which is manageable. There's a risk still there. So therefore, the bar facility that we've got at the moment would seem to be what we're going to be stuck with. I can't see what we're going to use. If we spend any money on the Millennium Suite, I can't see how we're going to recoup that investment.
No.
The one thing you could use the Millennium Suite for is if you wanted to sort of, I know that Kathy's got a lot of people volunteering and delivering food and delivering, you know, those sorts of goods to people. It would make sense to look at that, whether or not a storage area for that in the Winwick area is a useful thing to have. There's people interested in setting that up. There are grants available for that. That would seem to be a revenue stream that we should look at tapping. On that basis, if you were storing stuff, boxes of stuff or whatever, the quality of the carpet doesn't really matter.
No,
you could generate something from it, but apart from that, I can't see what you can use the Millennium for in the foreseeable future.
The only thing I was thinking we're getting that done is making use of the fact that it is closed to get the items completed. Because
until we have a viable business plan for what next year and the end of this year, next year may look like, what would be the point of putting investment into a building that may well be heading for a full-time permanent closure? If that's any possibility. And I think I'm in the middle of this group. I think it's a really, really important community facility for the football club, the social groups that meet there. It's been good value for business. There's lots and lots of positives, but we don't know when that's going to be allowed to open, if it's going to be allowed to open, and what those groups want. And until we've got that security and that data and that plan in place, I can't rule out the possibility of this centre closing next year. I just can't see, you know, you can have it as a football club, you can have a sports facility, you could do all sorts of things, but it's you know, it's got party income, which was the thing that was keeping its financial performance, in my view, tolerable. Other people may not think. bar, social functions, business functions. You could add outdoor leisure to that, because the football club, you know, it costs us £3 to maintain the pitches, and they pay us £3 for towards the cost of it. But with lots of those areas, as you said, for a full quarter with no income, what's the future after April?
I think it's a valid point.
It is.
Sadly, but I think it's valid.
Mm.
What do you think? I mean, it's a shame, but
I'm with
issue
Mike
is that
on this.
community use is allowed now under the latest guidance, but of course it's dependent on the size of the venue and the the overall capacity of the place. But you can start to reuse the venue for community use if you like.
Which is why we need to engage with those users and find out, let them know we're open, and support them to coming back to use it. We need that customer engagement, and we need to look at what we repurpose this for. Businesses that work out how to repurpose and what the vision new place looks like will survive. Those that don't will go to the wall. We're slap bang in the middle, and by middle I mean we're not entirely pub, restaurant, hospitality. We've got social use as well. So there's some part of it which you can see is going to come back, and there's some part of it which may struggle. But we have to have a plan. We have to have a viable plan, because this time next year there will be no furlough. Any staff will have to pay, and at the moment the income level, I'm not,
Can I just ask a question? Unless anybody else has got anything.
No.
Has the usage been of the people perhaps who would hire it been reviewed, or have we any idea about the people who would take it?
We have had a number of requests from different users as to when are we opening, when can they have rooms. Karate and Aikido want to know as soon as they're.
They can't.
Yeah,
because you can't have body contact sports yet.
No.
But you can do karate and Aikido without actual body contact. It will limit what they can do.
Various. I
Limit
mean,
sports,
I'm involved in the squash stuff, and there's various, as we speak, various sports are issuing their own guidance on how to, squash is looking at two levels. One is playing on your own, and the other is playing on sides of the court, because you can't have ball mixing. So you can see how some will limit numbers or put space limits together. Swimming's gone for a sort of 6 meters square per water.
But how viable is it for something like an Aikido club, for instance, to have less people there and still pay the room hire? And does that mean you'd have to take reduced room, or you will be approached for reduced room hire? Presumably.
Obviously, that's what we'd have to discuss with them, but
it's not viable for us to reduce.
No, that's what I mean.
All the number of people.
That's what I'm saying.
We're going to end up having to put prices up.
Yeah, because you've got to clean it a lot more as well. Your cleaning costs should be up. You've got to clean more rigorously, more often, presumably. I mean,
and the other thing is, the room that you want that in is the big bar area. So it's sort of
they use the back, don't they?
Do they use the back?
I think they use the so-called nursery room, the Middleton. I think they do. Okay. I might be wrong, but I think they use the Middleton.
It's quite a big space.
But you still can only have limited people in it if you're doing that kind of activity.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. That's what we would have to discuss with them, whether or not they could run it economically based on the room hire that we currently charge and how many people they could have in. It's not viable for them. It's not viable for them, but the room hire is what the room hire is. We've got the first aid people, the Together for Adoption people, all want meeting spaces. We've got a bunch of people that constantly asking, when can you set it up? When can we come in? When, you know, when are we allowed to use the place? So we're just looking basically at what the requirements are, what we're actually allowed to use it for. Because the grey area for me is that it says, you know, the conferences and events section where it says it's not allowed, and it's like, so what constitutes a conference at present? Because you know, it's just like a meeting's not allowed, or because they've only said with meetings, it's only council type meetings, isn't it? And only where you can't do it virtually.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting point, that, Claire. I looked at that and I thought, well, is it a conference centre or not? I think in that guidance, they're actually talking about big multinational conference centres like the NEC or GMEX or somewhere like that.
That would be my hope.
Yeah, I don't think they're talking about a small you know, community venue. In fact, the guidance does specifically say community use is allowed nowadays, so long as we're COVID secure. So I think we're probably okay. I can't see any restrictions now on meetings, so long as we say we're COVID secure. But it's everyone's got a different viewpoint on it, unfortunately. The guidance is fiendishly complicated as well when you get into it. It kind of repeats itself, and it contradicts itself as well. So to
be fair, I think that's less to do with them trying to confuse you, and probably more to do with the fact that they don't know what they're doing half the time.
If you were to open for
Zoom meeting, then, and our next meeting could be in the centre.
Well, again, Graham, it's a really good point, because the guidance changed about a week ago, and I think now physical meetings are permitted.
Well, I was going to suggest at some point, probably at the next one, that we look at the September going back to normal. I think it's probably the main. I mean,
that makes sense.
Is that we're into this pattern. It seems a bit silly to try and change it quickly for just one meeting in one cycle. But as we close in August, to pass a motion next meeting saying we'll try and make the next one at September would be sensible, because it gives us another month for things to stretch and give and see what.
And also for the guidance to lose that bracketed bit that says where virtual meetings are not possible. You know, unless virtual meetings are possible, kind of thing. So it gives it a chance for that to tweak as well by September, doesn't it?
Or to be in full lockdown again by then.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, could be.
What are you putting your money on, Mike?
I
was joking.
No, I think the thing that surprises me is, in spite of all this opening up, the levels of infection continue to go down, because people are far more aware of the issues, or remain far. Where people haven't followed it, Leicester, Blackburn, some large places of work, it goes rife. So I think if people are sensible and follow the sensible procedures, I have to say I don't think this government has a strategy. I don't think it's got a clue, apart from let's try and keep it bubbling along and get as much open as we can. I think if it won't go out of control like that. It'll go out of control just steadily like that. And at that point, you can actually reintroduce the measures at any point. But the idea that we live with this level of infection and sort of 50 to 100 deaths a day, 700 deaths a day, for how long? 5% of the population have had it, 20 years. Not great, is it? Not a great strategy, just to have it burn away, gradually eat away at the old and the sick and the infirm.
Right, back to the agenda.
Again?
I can't find that on the agenda, Chair.
Well, I was asked a question by a member, and I just thought I'd express my opinion. And
you were, yes.
Claire, I've stolen your thunder.
So you want all the Millennium Lounge stuff put on hold, from what I just understood from the
yeah.
By all means, get prices finalised for all the options, but I can't see the sense in throwing money at the Millennium at the moment.
No.
Other ones on there was to get the ladies and gents toilets repainted. one, freshen it up, and two, because it's not brilliant, the paintwork in there, you can't wipe clean. It's all matte paint. So it doesn't really bode very well for dealing with the COVID stuff. If you've got to try and clean the walls or anything, you can't.
No, I think that does need doing.
Yeah.
Now I got
That's
three
important.
prices. Wigwam came in at $750. Stephen White came in at $600, and Rick Harris came in at £530. Rick's local, and he's coming at the lowest price. I'd say we go with him.
Yeah,
I agree.
I agree.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, on the externals, the picnic benches that are outside of centre, one of them is damaged. It's the one that was donated, and I forgot the gentleman's name.
Yeah.
The double barrel name.
Yeah.
It was donated, but one of the two plinths on one side, one of them's come away completely, and the connecting plinth on one side is damaged and is about to go on the second one. We've had a quote of £460, but before anyone balks at that price for 2 pieces of wood, that's to fix that bench and to sand down and revarnish all 3 picnic benches and the 2 dual chairs that are looking worn as well.
Does that include the one at the back of the centre as well, in the so-called smoking area? Because there is a bench there, isn't there? Or is it still there?
It wasn't on my original quota for him, but I figure while he's got sandpaper and the varnish out, he'll do it for us.
Well, it's just that, well, maybe, I don't know whether they're fastened down. Has anybody looked at the price of new benches? No.
I haven't looked at the price of replacing all the benches, no.
No, I didn't mean, well, yeah, go on.
But as that one was donated in someone's memory, I figured, we'd get it repaired.
Yeah. It's not a very strong one, though, is it? I do what you. Yeah, I'm not bothered. Just seems
a lot to repair things, doesn't it? When you can buy new sets of them. I mean, the original wood that was done was Bob Haskew Jones made a lot
That's
of this.
right.
That's the one.
That's the name, yeah.
And I can't remember the quote ever going through or being approved. They just seemed to arrive when Matthew McGarry was centre manager and be done. And, they were done on the basis they would last a larger number of years than some get from B&Q for $79.99. No,
they would last longer than them, but you can get moderately priced benches that are, 100 and ish. But I don't know whether there'll be any, because of course people are buying them.
So I would, I take the committee's view really.
Yeah.
There is a danger. All I'll say is the danger if we keep replacing stuff, they'll end up like Trigger's broom in Only Fools and Horses.
Yeah. We can't leave a broken bench. We'll have to do something about a broken bench.
Yeah.
I can have a. I'll
For
have a
health
look.
and safety.
Have a second look at what costs are for replacement, Claire. But if you think the repair is the option, we delegate that power to you. Is that a fair view?
Yeah.
Okay, so if the price for 3 new benches comes in under the £460, purchase the benches.
We delegate. We're giving you a budget of up to £460 and spend it however you feel.
Okay.
After that little check. Okay.
Yep. And that's everything I'm trying to get money for. Thank you very much. From the Millennium stuff with yourself.
Okay, that's the end of part 1, I believe. If anybody wants anything else to say, if with anything else, I shall move part 2 and ask for the video link to be removed.
Okay, just bear with me 1 sec.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
I'm very quiet.
You're waiting. Is it gone, Julian?
Oh, the
Don't want to
recording
start.
bot's still
Not
on.
yet.
Having spent 10 minutes to get it up, it'll take about 10 minutes to get it
10
down.
minutes to get it down.